What is going on, guys? So today we just got some news, and it's very important news. It's kind of subtle news, but very, very important news, and it's based on Tesla's crash data. So here I have a post came directly from Tesla that FSD is currently having one crash per every 6.36 million miles driven. And the reason why that's so important is due to NHTSA, which is basically who tracks things like crashes, is basically stating, according to 2023, there's 702,000 miles driven before an accident. So, with that being said, Tesla is almost 10 times safer. FSD is almost 10 times safer than a human driver, which is like the data that we needed for Tesla to be 10x better. And we've not even gotten version 14 rollout to the mass public. So this data that we're seeing here of the 6.36 million is going to change by quite a bit. Whenever we're talking about like a step change and having like a step change difference going from version 13 to 14, this data has to be based off of version 13. Almost definitely. I'll say almost definitely. They could be skewing the data. I have to add this, so I'm not just a bull only, but they could be skewing this data by putting version 14 in the robo-taxis, and then over the past like few weeks have collected 6 million miles of data, and then like how many crashes have occurred while in that time frame. So we do got to be careful on that. Like this data can be skewed in certain ways where maybe it is still like human monitored and has that safety driver. So maybe that or safety rider or whatever. And so maybe that safety rider is able to like intervene and then therefore not have a collision, which then could amp up this data. However, on the flip side, Tesla's going to give us data that is going to appease shareholders. However, I don't think they're going to expand robotaxi in an unsafe manner. Meaning, with this data here, they should roll out a robotaxi to the entire United States as is with whatever this is, right? If this is version 14, version 13, they should be able to go unsupervised or do robotaxis throughout the entire United States. However, or not however, but if this data is somewhat skewed and like it is version 14, but version 14 isn't rolled out to everybody, and maybe this data came from vehicles that is like robotaxi vehicles where there's a safety rider or safety driver in the vehicle, then maybe this data again is skewed a little bit, and maybe the number would be in the hands of a normal driver somewhere in the 4 millions, or I mean, it could even go as low as 1 millions and just not having a safety driver in the car. However, I don't see that being the case just because with FSD, and this is another part where the data could be skewed, is that FSD by itself not causing a wreck, or is it FSD paired with a human that's not causing a wreck? So it's highly likely if you completely remove the human out of that scenario that this number could go from 6 million to 1 million really, really quick. Whereas FSD itself protects us from so many wrecks and so many accidents that can happen throughout our drives. There still are instances here and there where you may need to intervene, and that intervention is like that backup redundancy, and essentially avoids an accident. So it's one thing to be cautious of with this data, and just be mindful of it. And I'm just kind of giving that information as a bear, of Tesla. I'm a bull of Tesla, long-term investor. I have a ton of money invested in Tesla call options, 710 calls to be specific. And I also do some hedges. I even put some puts on Tesla, just to like hedge the market itself. Very, very small amount, like maybe 1% of my portfolio. And then I have a larger amount that I'm continuing to allocate towards puts for Uber and Lyft. But that's kind of another thing that I've made other videos on, because I think that robotaxi is going to disrupt Uber and Lyft by so much, and I think there's going to be major upside there. And I also use Uber and Lyft as my total market downside, but I'm trying to find good options. So if you have options that have good volatility, I'm primarily using Leaps. So since I'm using Leaps, there's not much volume going on with Uber and Lyft in the options on the puts. So I'm not liking that about investing and putting money there, because like the swings are like weird, and like it's hard to sell because the volumes are too low, at least until we start getting closer to those dates. However, on the flip side, like some of the ones that are like my extreme bear bets, like I'm buying $5 Lyft puts for like a penny, maybe like 4 cents or something like that. And so if those even jump up to a few dollars, like that's multiple 10x's of returns, where you can get like 1,000x return. But I also look at all that money being lost money, so just keep that in mind if you're getting involved in puts or anything like that at all. But yeah, this going back to the bull side of this thing, this is extremely good data, especially if this is coming from version 13. I wish they would clarify. Matter of fact, I wonder if I can get this to pull up like really immediately here on X. Go home. I'll go to Tesla. I'm gonna go directly to Tesla, and you go look at it. I just wanna scroll the comments real quick, or actually, let me do this. I'll use my best friend, Grok. Okay. Tesla just released on X the data for FSD, and that it has a crash 1 out of 6.36 mil miles. Okay, so yeah, I just want to plug that in here. Okay, can you confirm if it was on FSD V13 or 14, and if this was general user or general Tesla owners, or from robo taxi data. Okay, so that's a very important question to ask, and I'm kind of taking you through this. One, I'm showcasing me using Grok and like how much I use Grok. I'm actually watching another video on the side here. I just paused it to shoot this video because I've seen this information, but I'm actually debating on getting Grok heavy because I'm a business owner, and I think it makes sense I'm spending like hours a day on Grok, so I think that if I keep my utilization up like I am, I think Grok heavy would be like super useful for me. I'm doing everything from like examining like properties to invest into to like my stock market analysis from like my puts and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm spending multiple hours a day. I just spent like a whole entire day the other day building out like a spreadsheet that like was tracking like all of our expenses for all of our properties and stuff like that. Just in a way that's like really readable, and the data also transfers to other sheets that we have, so that way like everything's like a real-time calculation based on what we have inputted. So as soon as we grab new like statements and stuff, it automatically updates everything across the board. Now there might be a software out there for that, but I just kind of like building my own internal spreadsheets that gives us those like capabilities. But yeah, so if I do buy Super Grok Heavy, I will be making some videos on it, because I'm not seeing very many videos on Super Grok or Grok Heavy or Super Grok Heavy, however they're calling it. Okay, we actually got a result back. So the data released by Tesla on X Q3 2025, one crash, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Technology, which encompasses FSD supervised. This period covers July. Okay, July through September 2025. Let's go. During which FSD was still on version 13. Let's go. Yeah, so I didn't dig far enough into the data. I just wanted to get this to you guys. But so that data came from July to September 2025. Another bear caveat to add to this is like 1 or 2 months of data. So they could have chose like a good month that they had where there were just like no accidents, and then utilize that data. That's just something to be conscious of when you're looking at data. There's always like caveats to the data on like where that data can be skewed, especially when it's like a company presenting that data to you. And if they're not giving you like the full raw data, like if they're giving you like the data for the entire year and here it is all laid out, then you can see, are they just saying this is the high, this is the best that we've done, or is this like that median average, or like, what's going on with that? Maybe I'll go back to that post here in a second. Okay, so version 14 was not released until early October 2025. The metrics are aggregated from general Tesla owners using supervised autopilot FSD features, not from any robo-taxi operations, which might involve unsupervised driving and weren't part of the data set. Perfect to know. Perfect to know. That was another bear thing that I called out, and Grok answered that for me. Again, this is why I love Grok so much. And why I'm thinking about Grok Heavy, because like this information is extremely important to me as an investor. That I need this data to be true, and not only that, like sometimes the AI you have to like debate it, right? And I like it's sometimes not worth my time to have to do like 4 or 5 chats to debate Grok to give me the answer like I really want it to give me, or it keeps like kind of spitting out a result that's not quite right. Like especially when I was doing something with spreadsheets, like it kept like kind of giving me the data in a weird way where I couldn't just copy and paste it simply, right? Whereas with the Grok Heavy, and again, that's why I want to test Grok Heavy, I could test, or Grok Heavy could argue amongst itself and then spit me out a result, which, for like whatever they're wanting, like $350 a month or something like that, it's well worth it. Let me type something else into here. What else do we want to find out about this FSD? So it told us 2 of the biggest things. If it was drivers, and it was version 13. Let me just ask it, does it give other historical data? Is this the best FSD has done per month? I'm going to put a parentheses months. Where's it? I was about to say months. Or is there an average of this data? Now, be mindful too, we haven't had a FSD update for like over 6 months now. So unless they're like cherry picking data, technically our FSD should not have gotten better since our last update, which was like 6-9 months ago. So yeah, just with that being said, it shouldn't matter that much if it was this month or last month or the month before that, unless they're just cherry picking data, and or things like weather. Like if it was like really rainy during a season, then like obviously like you're gonna have more crashes because it's like statistically you're having more wrecks during that period of time, whether it's unsupervised or not, or whether it's human driver with no FSD or not. Like just more crashes occur during a certain period of time. Now they directly compared that, and this is another caveat for the data. They directly compared. They directly compared against NHTSA data from 2023, and that's the part that I want to call out. So they're not directly comparing like what happened last month to NHTSA, and maybe NHTSA doesn't give us that information. Ooh, what's this? September 18th. I haven't even seen that one yet. No, I haven't seen that video though. How? Whatever. Yeah, so it's not really showcasing the month. It's just maybe saying, yeah. So here we are. Boom. All right, guys. Let me know if this video was valuable for you guys. And let me check the one time to see if Grok has spit something out. Okay. Miles per crash per millions. Here's a summary of the recent quarterly data for miles per crash while using autopilot FSD. So Q1 was actually, miles per crash was 7.6 million. Q2 was 6.8 million. Q3 was 7 million. Q4 was 5.9 million. Q1 was 7.4 million. Q2 Q2 6.69, and then Q3 is 6.36. So I guess with this past data is like really not, it's not that valuable. However, the data that we were just giving was data given by Tesla directly, where I think a lot of these other sources is like, Q2 of 2024 was Tesla Roddy, Q3 2024 was Tesla Roddy. Q1 came from Cybertruck Owners Club. And so, the data may not necessarily have been coming from Tesla. So I could ask it real quick. Is this data all directly from Tesla? So that way I can get the confirmation. And also too, like this is something where Grok Heavy might have debated this for me and then either just output me the data that was only given by Tesla or like gave that caveat of not all this data came from it. And there was also a whole description that I did not read off. Q3 2024 data does not include other historical figures. It only provides the current quarters metrics along with comparison on the U.S. national average. So that's U.S. national average. However, Tesla's vehicle safety report website features a graph with historical quarterly data going back several years, though exact older figures from before 2024 are not detailed in recent releases, as Tesla paused public reporting for over a year before resuming in mid-2024. The reports do not break down data monthly. Everything is aggregated quarterly, so no overall averages across quarter is explicitly provided in the reports. It's not its best performance to date, so I don't know that this is necessarily that great of information. Yes, all the data in the table summarizes is directly from Tesla's. Okay, quarterly vehicle safety reports. Okay, I don't know why it's notating some other. Maybe they mentioned it on X as well, what these data points were. But these are all coming directly from Tesla's website. And again, I'm just kind of really showcasing like how my dive and some of my exploration is with like using Grok and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, that information is less relevant. I mean, I think the major relevance of that information is the fact that like Tesla just directly posted it as an X post. It's not the best data. The thing that might kind of just reignite is the fact that it's not version 14. I don't think Tesla mentioned anything. Let me just ask Grok again. Does Tesla mention anything about how much better they think V14 will be? And by the way, I don't have great memory, guys. I have to have data like sitting right in front of me for me to remember. I like intuitively remember things, so like I won't remember an exact number. I'll just have like an idea in my head of like a range or something like that. The way I store my information is like, pretty unique. The way that my brain operates is like I'm a very fast operator. I'm kind of like blah, 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 blah. I'm just like doing things quickly, and but the memory side of things is not great for me. Like I literally can't look at a page and look away without remembering it, and it depends on certain things, like how much memory I have of things. I want this thing to give me a result real quick. I was kind of hoping to do a little bit more digging on the X post and just see if it can give me any more insights. Yes, Tesla. Okay, I just got an answer back. So yes, Tesla, through statements from Elon Musk, has indicated that FSD version 14 represents a significant leap forward. Especially, most notes the V14 features approximately 10 times more parameters. That's great, dude. We know that. So feeling almost sentient being by version 14.2, which are getting close to version 14.2. If you didn't know, version 14 has already came out. They've done like version 14.1, and now they're all, I think they're about to be on version 14.2, suggesting a qualitative improvement in the actual. However, specific metrics like exact safety improvements or miles per intervention have yet to be given yet. So they haven't given us that information. So we can just like assume that it's going to be quite a bit better. And they keep saying things about being better than a human. However, the data they're giving us is better than a human by 10x. So the thing to keep in mind is like that's probably with a human in the car. So FSD with a human in the car makes it 10 times safer, right? So like buy a car with FSD because it's going to be 10 times safer than without FSD. On the flip side, take the human out of the car, and now I don't think we are 10x safer than a human. If it's FSD only, I think that we are near to as safe as a human, right? And according to what they're saying, this should be version 14 should be at least as safe as a human. Which, if that's the case, and I was just kind of like translate this data, I would assume this would put our crash report data at like 12 million miles per crash with a driver in the car. So if you're an owner of a Tesla with FSD version 14, the crash data will probably be near to 12 million miles per accident with a human in the car. That's my projection on what we'll see. And so, like, as soon as we get a V14 rollout, which is not widely rolled out yet, so we might get information on V14 and how well that data is. They could also be collecting V14 data. Right, Tesla is kind of providing us the data as they see fit. They could also be sandbagging, and this is something that I've also made videos about. That I think Elon is sandbagging until he gets his compensation package, and then once he gets his compensation package, what I foresee is there's going to be a huge rollout of things that they're going to kind of roll out week after week. Either there's going to be expansion into new cities, because Elon's going to say, "I did this. I got us rolled out into other cities. I got the stock price from here to here." Right, and even though he is still actively the CEO. If he like gets his comp package approved and then does the things, it looks like it's associated with that comp package. So again, if we keep things low barrier, keep things good, keep a steady pace, all those good things, keep the stock price kind of elevated, but don't let it go like parabolic. Don't let it just like shoot through the moon. Just keep it slow and rolled out. And then after the comp, now more aggressively roll out things, right? Expanding into more cities, expanding vehicles, releasing V14 data, because they could be collecting the V14 data either on robo-taxis and or individuals who have early access of FSD. It doesn't take many miles or many drivers per vehicle to collect that million of data. Like, say for instance, if you rolled out, simple numbers is easy math, right? If you rolled out FSD version 14 to 1 million vehicles, and every one of them drives a mile, you have 1 million miles worth of data. So almost overnight, Tesla could have enough data on their vehicles or enough data of V14 to know, what the outcome is. They should know every single day, like on version 13. They know on a day-by-day basis, this is how good FSD did today. This is how good FSD did today. If they're not tracking that on a daily basis, they're probably at the minimum tracking it. They have to be tracking it on a monthly basis, or they couldn't provide it to us on a quarterly basis. They're tracking it all the way through. Now it's like, are they worried about it on like a minute-to-minute basis, on an hour-to-hour basis, on a day-to-day basis? Are they worried about that? Or are they kind of like focused on like, we got to get V14 ready? Like, because one of the things that I've mentioned in the past is they've abandoned V13. And I call it out. They're done with V13, and they're not going to work on V13 anymore. They're completely working on V14. V14, we're going to see the same thing happen. We're going to get this 14.2 to the public probably. After version 14.2 is to the public, then what I predict is we, as mass population, we will see maybe like a version 14.3, 14.4, and then again they're going to abandon version 14, and they're only going to focus on version 15. And I made like parameter videos and like some other videos on FSD about like why they have to kind of make those transitions and all that good stuff, and how like it matters with like data and compute and training and all that good stuff. So subscribe if like those are other things that you're interested in, and kind of understanding why and how like why all the cogs and everything turn the way that they do. But yeah, I'm going to cut this one off here. 24-minute video already, 25-minute video. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you're interested in other content like this, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.